Gun Jam appeared in my email box several times and I kept refusing to play it until I got distracted and accepted it. In fact, these games always produce good trailers and that's what got me, but I know that these slices are always misleading. My bad. Gun Jam is a rhythm first-person shooter. I mean, our gun only fires when in conjunction with the beat. This genre has recently resurfaced with some new releases. The one I remember from the top of my head is Metal Hellsinger, which was relatively well received. I didn't notice that the game had any story, nor I feel the need for it to have one. Graphically in cel-shaded style, somewhat reminiscent of Borderlands but with much more neons, with so many explosions and enemies on the screen, this graphical style manages to make some moments more confusing than they really are, but it produces futuristic images that fit well with the game's environment, so I understand the graphical option. Considering that this is a game with total focus on rhythm, it would be problematic for the musical selection to be bad. I'm happy to say the choice was not bad at all. There are songs of all genres for all tastes, although it seems to me that the list is relatively short for a game of this genre. The caveat here is that we can use the songs we already have on our PC to create our game playlist, but there is no connection to external applications like Spotify. The songs have to be digitally saved on our drive. There are many variants in rhythm games, but for simplicity I will differentiate only two. The variant that allows us to perform an action at any time and our precision only affects the final score of each level, like Hi-Fi Rush, or those in which we can only perform an action if we just hit the proper beat timing, which is the case with Gun Jam. This second case makes the game much more complex, since in addition to having to carry out all the actions we also have to memorize the songs, so we don't have to look at the rhythm at the same time as we have to look at the enemies. This makes the game unnecessarily complex, but if it didn't exist it would make the game too simplistic and reductive. It's a double-edged sword. This means that the game has a high learning curve, complicated by the fact that the songs do not have intuitive patterns when translated into actions, thus preventing us to fully focus on the rhythm. This gets significantly worse when we go to get our songs, since although the game allows us to create the beat we want, we can also do it automatically. And this second option, although it is possible to understand, in spaces of course, the logic taken by the process of automation, it is far from creating anything similar to what we are listening to. And even having some logic, it is very difficult to follow the sudden changes in rhythm of each song without having memorized it beforehand. Something I noticed is that the enemies are very repeated in all levels, which counterbalances the creativity used with the bosses, much more imaginative than the other minions. Something common to all of them is that they are machines. The difficulty of the game varies from level to level. There are corridor and arena levels. We can choose any of them at any time. If we want to make our lives more complicated, we just need to choose songs with slower beats, since the faster the rhythm, the more shots we can fire. The corridor levels are more challenging as in addition to having a time limit, they do allow us to camp in some areas where we can easily recover life, thus simplifying the entire playing process. As we play, we acquire diamonds that allow us to enter override mode, a mode that allows us to melee fight with enemies, inflicting much more damage and being, in that short period of time, much less vulnerable to attacks. In a nutshell, Gun Jam didn't captivate me in the slightest. It takes a lot of time for us to feel comfortable with it, but it doesn't offer us much stuff to keep us playing without endless repetitions. We repeat the levels to learn where the enemies come from, we repeat the songs to learn the patterns, we repeat the same song because it is the most beneficial for our game. For 20 euros you can find much better. See you next time, guys. Bye!